Okay, so we are going through Saguaro National Park East, just outside of Tucson. I imagine I'll be stopping just many places. So, we just got on here and here's our first pull out. So, let's go see what it is. To me, the mountains are enough, but this landscape's very pretty. It's so different than what we have back home. So I think that's why it's so attractive to a lot of Midwesterners. It's December, I think it's the 7th. And beautiful. Mid to high 60s right now. I think it's supposed to get to the 70s, low 70s. It's gorgeous. Saguaro, S-A-G-U-A-R-O, Saguaro National Park East. Pulling over every now and then so people who want to go a little faster can go around me. I don't know why you would want to go fast to the national park, but it's okay. This is a beautiful kind of pull off though. Sonoran Desert Overlook. It's not too crowded here today, and this is a one-way street. So I came back here to get that shot. Some cacti, the saguaros. It's my understanding that this is as far north as the saguaro cactus goes, and I think this might be actually the only places where it grows. There's Alice. Mia's not happy because I have to hook her to the seat belt because she always wants to pop out, but she popped out at the Guadalupe Mountains National Park. 10 minutes of me running around a national park chasing my dog who's not allowed in a national park, but fortunately there weren't anybody there. A few more people here today, but not a ton, and not a lot, but some cyclists, so that's kind of fun. So again, this is the Sonoran Desert Outlook. And again, I cannot get enough of those mountains. I think those are the Rincon Mountains. But they're so gorgeous. And they'll make a nice backdrop up here for the saguaros. There's a little information about it. Just explains that the lush plant life of the Sonoran Desert is the result of subtropical temperatures and 2 seasons of rainfall. So, a year-round high-pressure system off the California coast accounts for the sunshine you'll find here more than 300 days each year. Mild winters and blazing hot summers. I like the mild winter part. in the sun for 300 days a year. Hi. This is interesting. It talks about where have all the saguaros gone. And this is a view in 1935 from this hill. So it's 1935, and here is 1960. And here is 1985. And here is today, 2020. So you can see, while, you know, there's more than might have been if we hadn't stepped in to preserve them, still not a lot. It said, before 1980, almost no young saguaros could be found here. Predictions of doom were made. The last saguaro will die in the 1990s. In 1979, the National Park acquired all grazing rights, and after decades of trampling by cattle, the young saguaros began to sprout under palo verde and mesquite nurse trees. And so you can see they're being saved. I'm hoping to find one close enough to the road with a pullout that I can stand next to. These are probably more my size right there. It's a particularly lovely part of the drive. Some nice saguaros along the street here, or paved road, I guess. Cool rock formations coming up here, am I right? This is called the Javelina Rocks overlook. Javelinas they look like little wild pigs. I'm not sure they're in the pig category, but that's what they look like to me. This is really cool. Thought I'd go up and get some shots of it. It's kind of unusual because it's been so kind of just flat, rolling hills as opposed to any rocks. There's a javelina for you. Yep. The layer cake looking rock here is called Javelina Rock, named after its favorite inhabitant, the javelina. Other small animals also find these rocks ideal for shelter and shade. Gesundheit.
Thank you.
Got you on tape, but I'll edit that out. Mia's very excited because she gets to go into the park. Dogs are welcome at Casa Grande. They don't want to leave you in the car when it's hot, but it's not hot today. It's nice. It's a little warm, but it's December, so we're gonna go take a little walk at Casa Grande National Monument. You have to go this way. You have to go this way. If you're gonna go, you have to follow the path. Come on. Oh, it looks like I don't have to go too far. That'll be nice. Because of COVID, they're only allowing self-guided tours. And I think the exhibits are closed and maybe some other area. But I always like self-guided tours anyway. And some beautiful landscape we can look at. as we walk along. And this is real close to the parking lot, and there's a nice, I don't know, 7, 8 spots for RVs and buses. So very nice. The bookstore was open, so I got my stamp and stuff like that. So come on, baby. Okay. Before walled compounds. About 100 years ago, people in southern Arizona began to grow corn. Over time, more crops were introduced. They built earthen homes called pit houses and began to dig canals to water their fields. And about 800 years ago, people here began to build not only pit houses, but above-ground wall buildings and walled compounds like the ruins you see before you today. So, this is in Coolidge, Arizona. It's halfway between, well, I don't know if it's halfway, but it's between Tucson and Phoenix. Some information about desert farming. Began corn, obviously, and then beans, squash, gourds, pumpkins, tobacco, and cotton. I thought I passed a cotton field on the way here. 220 miles of canals near the Casa Grande ruins. The ancestral Sonoran desert people built those. The earliest ones were 3,500 years ago. So, pretty cool. You can see the excavation that's been done. It's kind of cool. Just these little mounds. I don't know if these are other buildings and they've fallen apart. Maybe it'll tell us up here, but it's not a large area, but it's a nice stop along the way. So let's go, Mija. Daily life within the walls. The open spaces behind you and to your right are called plazas. Here you might have watched food preparations, pottery making, spinning, weaving. Well, I guess they were open areas. In winter, people worked out in the open plaza where the sun could warm them. In summer, they sought shade alongside buildings or worked under breezy ramadas, open weave, wood and brush overhead shelters. This was a compound. Pretty mountains over there. Engineered to last. The ancestral Sonoran desert people used caliche, a desert soil rich in calcium carbonate, to raise the thick walls you see. Look closely at this walls. You can see the horizontal lines. These lines show courses. The height, a patch of caliche was piled in one work session before being left to dry. And then here, like this is sort of an inside look at the Great House. Today, the Casa Grande remains the only example of a multi-story structure from the Hohokam culture. Cool. And here you see. You can't go in because wildlife have sort of made their homes in there, and so you're not allowed to go in. I mean, plus structurally, I imagine. Although it's lasted all these years. No, you can't go in there, Mija. You can't go inside. Oh, they have it blocked. Good. But you can see up in there. Come here. You can see up in there the different structures, and you can hear the birds. I think they said they're owls in here. Oh, did you hear that, Mija? You can see upstairs. That's kind of cool. Over here, you can see the different walls. Looks like somebody graffitied back in the day, but there's some birds up there. Maybe there's lots of pigeons. And again, some graffiti, of course. Humans have to make their mark, not always in a good way. That's kind of interesting here. You can see the makeup of the building and then the smoothness. That's kind of cool. This is kind of interesting. This one talks about how you can harvest things from the desert. And over here, this is the different ones, like, for example, mesquite for food, and creosote for medicine, prickly pear for food, saguaro for food, cholla for food. So, and I think, you know, they got some liquids from those as well, and they also made baskets from different things. So, pretty creative, I'm sure, with what's available to you. I was trying to figure out what that is. I'm not quite sure. Probably just the walls and another part of the compound. But that's kind of cool. This one talks about irrigation and how they got the water into the compound. And here's Casa Grande and the Gila River, or Gila, I'm not sure how you pronounce that. And then the blue are the canals that they built off of that river. And the black squares are their settlements. So lots of different kinds of settlements in this area. Okay, this talks about protecting the Casa Grande. In the 1700s and early 1800s, only a trickle of travelers came by the Casa Grande, first Spanish explorers and the Mexican-American travelers. More people visited after 1879 when the railroad first reached the town of Casa Grande, 19 miles away. Travelers scratched their names into the walls. Some took away artifacts and even pieces of the walls as souvenir. In 1889, Congress voted to protect the ruins and pay for clearing away. In 1891, the wooden beams and metal rods you see today were installed, and then 3 years later, the federal government made Casa Grande the nation's first archaeological preserve. And it was a Jesuit priest who named the ruins, Father Quino, and he called it Casa Grande, which is Spanish for great house. So, kind of cool. Be cool if you go inside, but I completely understand why you can't. Here's the visitor center, and they have this nice pavilion off to the side, some landscaping. And up there, you go around the front, is where we came in. That's the wicked tree. That green is about the color you see in the wicked elphaba. And then, do not feed the squirrels, mija, okay? You can't chase them either. Here you can see that tree a little closer, one I call the elphaba tree. I think that's how you say her name, from Wicked, because look at the color green of it. I hope it shows up. That's kind of cool. Very unique green. This talks about the oval mound in front of us that was an arena for a ball court. And you can kind of still see it. It's kind of neat. A little soccer maybe. Except they use stone balls. Oh, I don't know if they threw them or not. It would hurt to a hitter with that thing. We have a picnic area here, but it's closed because of COVID. As is everything, but you know, you can still get out and enjoy nature, and that's what I'm trying to focus on, is nature areas as opposed to close-up sightseeing kind of things right now. So you can still get out, but just keep your distance and wear your mask and stay safe. So